Hello, welcome to my channel, and welcome back to the Splatoon manga redesigns. Oh my gosh, it's been so long. If you're wondering where I've been, I just been doing life stuff, college stuff. I have tried making 2 videos, but one of them, the audio came out really bad, and the other one was kind of just for fun, so I might still release it though. Anyways, that's not important. What's really important is that Emperor's birthday happened a few days ago from when I'm recording this. So it's probably going to be like a few months ago at this point, because honestly it takes forever to edit these videos. Either way, I was thinking, hey, Emperor's like kind of super important to this fanfic I'm working on that these redesign videos are for, so why not just get it over with and finally redesign him, you know? Here's the thing though. I kinda sorta made an entirely new set of gear for Emperor and his team. And so since there's 5 members instead of the usual 4, and everyone's gonna be having 2 sets of outfits, I'm gonna have to make 10 different designs, and that's gonna take forever. So this is gonna be a 2-parter. In this first part, I'm going to be redesigning Emperor, Prince, and Laceless. In the second part, we'll have Egging Jr. and N-Pacer, as well as some bonus stuff that I'm gonna keep secret for now. Now we're almost ready to get started, but there are a few things that I want to go over first. Much like many of my other redesigns, I've technically already done this before. Before I decided that I wanted this fic to be a animatic series, this was originally going to be a comic. And I've actually already posted what the first few pages were gonna look like. And the other thing is, I'm not going to be explaining these characters' entire story throughout the manga, because last time that caused a lot of problems with the timing and talking too much. So I'm just going to talk about what they do in this and my thought process behind the outfits, maybe. And I think that's everything. So without further ado, let's get on to the redesigns. So I started with Emperor because, I did this whole thing for his birthday. And I felt really bad for completely forgetting about it and not doing anything. So now I'm drawing him! Yippee! Now me and Emperor go way back. Emperor has been my favorite for forever. He's kind of not as much my favorite character anymore, just because he's barely getting any screen time, and his character is kind of very one note now, but he's still great. But anyway, this whole thing's about my super awesome fanfiction, and in my super awesome fanfiction, Emperor is kind of low-key the main character of the first arc. Each arc follows a different set of main characters that are 12 of them each arc. It's honestly kind of crazy. Now Emperor is a very special boy in this arc because he went ahead and got himself a girlfriend during the crust bucket journey, whatever they called it. Out with his fry cook. Yeah, Emperor's dating one of my stupid OCs, but they're cool, okay? I like it. I think it's cute. The general idea is that Emperor and my OC end up in this sort of sticky situation that kind of puts their relationship in a rock and a hard place, and now they gotta figure it out. It's pretty wholesome, and it's honestly kind of a B-plot to what's actually happening, but it's cute and I like it. Now, I don't want to spoil too much, so I'm going to move on to my thought process behind his redesign, and oh my gosh, I can't wait to talk about the gear. Now, as I mentioned, Emperor's team gets new outfits, these new uniforms that are based off of the Eminence set that, he wears in the actual manga. I call it the Golden Ruby set. Because it's gold and red. There's also the Silver Sapphire, which is silver and navy, as a reference to the alternate navy version that you don't need to pay real-life money for in Japan. The names separately are pretty much what you'd expect, golden ruby cuff, golden ruby coat, golden ruby boots. Pretty self-explanatory. Now the fun part with this gear is actually everyone wears it slightly differently. This is inspired on the whole thing where, like, in Splatoon 3, you can switch how your clothes look, wear a hat backwards or something. There's also how Goggles can roll up his sleeves. I thought that was cute. So everyone wears theirs slightly different. Now real quick, I want to talk about his hair. His hair has always been such a problem for me. This is honestly the main reason why I make all of the redesigns have new hairstyles. It's because I just don't like drawing the ones that do exist. And so I just really wanted to make him look as fine as possible. Speaking of making Emperor look good, I think I might have done that a bit too much with my taste in mind, because, like, as I kept looking at him, the more I started to realize he kind of looks like Shinlong from Alpha Drive 1. I mean, I do have that K-pop AU. Anyway, yeah, that's Emperor. I'm really proud of how this turned out. I'm very excited to write the story I want to tell with him. Yeah. Also, by the way, even though I have him shipped with one of my OCs that is heavily based on me, that doesn't mean I actually am a Yume shipper or a self-shipper. I'm not really into that. I just really wanted to tell a romance story with him. Yeah, but that's it. On to the next boy. Okay, next up is Laceless, which might possibly be my absolute favorite redesign I've done, like, ever now? Like, genuinely, I love how he turned out. Like, Laceless is such a easy character to redesign because he's high-key a background character, so you can do whatever you want with him to make him more relevant. So, needless to say, a lot of stuff has changed about him. The most obvious thing that I changed is probably, I gave him a glow-up. In the manga, he's this little guy who's super shy and has these tiny little dot eyes and line brows. And I was like, what if he had a growth spurt, you know? Plus, I thought it would be funny if he just, like, was suddenly taller than Prince when in the manga he's shorter than him. I thought it would be funny. Now, originally my plan for Laceless, story-wise, was he was gonna be just, like, you know, what he is in the manga, a background character. But as I redesigned him, I started coming up with ideas that ended up making him more important to the story than originally intended. So, in this series, and in the redesigns, a lot of the characters are variations on Inklings and Octolings. And Laceless is a black-eyed squid. Because I saw that his eyes were black and I'm like, oh, neat, I can just make him a black-eyed squid because I already have a black-eyed squid character, and it's the OC that's shipped with Emperor Fish. And after I made that decision, I started to realize that Laceless and my OC have a lot in common. Other than them being both black-eyed squids, they're also both commoners who have big fat crushes on rich kids. That's right, Laceless has a crush on Prince, because why wouldn't he? Who else, honestly? The only other thing that I feel like I should mention about his character is that he is now the gardener for Emp's mansion because his father retired. That's it. Now on to actually talking about the redesign. Now I mentioned in Emperor's section that everyone wears their uniform slightly differently, and so Laceless rolls up his sleeves and wears gloves with his. Not to mention that everyone is wearing the shoes that give them their namesake, so Laceless is still wearing his stupid laceless shoes. Quick fun fact, everyone is named after their shoes except for Prince and Emperor. But since there were only 2 named pairs of shoes, the End Pacers and the Squid Kid Juniors, Laceless ended up getting the Zinc Laceless shoes that have the King logo that is used prominently in End Parry gear. Okay, hold up. Pause. Hi guys, this is editing me. So funny story. This was wrong, but also kind of right. So while I was looking up images to prove my point about Laceless's shoes, I noticed that it was really hard to see the logo on his shoes because the part where the logo was reflective. So I went to actually look at the model used in game, and this is the image. That's not the same logo, guys. The thing is, I still think that they chose the laceless shoes because they give off Enperi vibes. At least they are white and milky and have gold on it, which is good enough for Emperor, I guess. But sorry for spreading the rumor. I'm gonna stop now. Bye. As for his hair, I pretty much knew exactly what I wanted the silhouette to look like, but I was having trouble with the execution, but eventually I found something that I like. Also, going back to the black-eyed squid thing, my black-eyed squid designs have these hooks under their tentacles, but Laceless removed his because they made him uncomfortable. Though they can grow back, so he has to like trim them off every time. And that's all the time I've got for Laceless. I'm very proud of this design. He's so cute. On to the next one. The last character I redesigned is Prince. Now, Prince doesn't have as much plot relevance as Laceless and Emperor, which is so funny because he's Emperor's younger brother and Laceless's love interest. I don't know how this happened. In the original version of this fic, back when it was like hot garbage in middle school, he was a more relevant character, but he definitely felt more like a plot device than his own person. Not to mention, writing Prince is kind of hard because someone made a video about this. I don't know if it still exists, but it was like Prince has two personalities. There's pre-character development and post-character development, and it's hard to choose which Prince I want to write. And before y'all go, actually, maybe you should just do post-character development Prince because this takes place in the future. Yeah, I would do that, but I kind of think post-character development Prince is kind of boring. Like, I'm sorry, Prince was just more interesting when he was this guy who was being oppressed by his older brother to be super serious when he wanted to be a little goofball. And so here's my solution. Since this is post-character development Prince, but I like pre-character development Prince, I decided to mix the two together. Prince is getting older and thus getting more responsibilities. And because of this, he starts to believe that he should start getting more serious, even though no one is pressuring him to do that in the first place. By the way, if you're wondering about everyone's ages, they're all over 18, that's for sure. And with my headcanon math, Prince ended up being 20. I don't know if he's like, none of this is set in stone, by the way. These are just like what I have in like the back of my head when writing them. The ages aren't the focus, they're just a bunch of adults who are still doing turf war because of course they are. Anyway, on to the design process. Prince's variation is honestly just super obvious. He wears his coat opened, and his shoes, I decided to give him the Imperials because, you know, I didn't want to give him the regular shoes. Yeah, Prince isn't named after any part of his gear, which is crazy, so I just gave him the shoes he normally wears anyway. Nah, most of the redesign stuff happens in his head area. There's, of course, his hair, which I made to look more Prince-like and less emo. I'm sorry, you can't show me that hairstyle and not tell me that this is one emo little kid. And don't get me wrong, I love the fact that he was emo. I'm a scene kid. I love this. This is hilarious to me. But more importantly, his face. One thing that kind of bothers me in the manga is that his face doesn't really look like Emperor's, even though they're brothers. So I tried to give them more similarities. I decided to give Prince the same eyelash pattern as Emperor and made it so that, like, if he were to squint, he would look a lot like Emperor. Also, I forgot to mention this, but I changed Emperor's eyebrow shape because I don't like drawing his actual eyebrow shape. It's just hard. So I changed his eyebrow shape and made Prince's a thick, smaller version of it. But anyway, that's Prince! I'm very happy with him. But hold up, we're not done yet. Remember, I said that I made 2 outfits for all of the characters. These are their casual clothes. Honestly, we're probably going to be seeing them wearing these more, so I maybe should have done the redesigns on them, but I really wanted to get those big outfits right, okay? Yeah, so these are the outfits that I mostly draw them in. Even before making this video, this is what I've been drawing them in. Yeah, the outfits in these are literally just the shirts changed. They're still wearing the golden ruby cuff, and they're still wearing the shoes that they normally wear. Yeah, but I'm gonna start with Emperor because, you know, he's already done. He's wearing the king mesh tee. When I first saw this in the game, I was all like, if Emperor's not wearing this in the manga, I'm gonna be so mad. And then he shows up wearing Rockenberg. What? Then there's Prince, who, in this drawing, I made him wear the White King tank. But, I have a character that I'm working on that might wear the White King tank, though I might give her the Splash King tank instead. I'm not completely sure. I just knew that I wanted Prince to wear one of the tank tops. Also, if there's like an obscure background character who's wearing one of these outfits, I don't care. There's like they're probably not gonna show up in the story, honestly, if it's some obscure character that like isn't very important. And that actually brings us to Laceless, who's wearing the garden gear, which all of Worker's head towel or whatever wears. He's a gardener! Let him wear that! Yeah, but those are the extra outfits. Now, this last drawing I did is a concept kind of idea for one of the scenes in the series. I made this because I've been playing this scene in my head like 10,000 times, and I just wanted to have at least a visualizer of what it would look like, especially since I hadn't fully figured out what I wanted the animatic style to look like. It's still going to be a very long time until I finish making like even one episode of it, but I at least wanted to get the style down. Yeah, but take this as just like a little treat of what's coming up. Yeah, thank you for watching. That was the video. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy with these designs. I'm so excited to start with the fanfic series. It's gonna be great. Please don't hate me for OC's stuff. I'm definitely a lot more proud with this video, from the faster editing time it took me, to the art looking better, to the fact that I don't absolutely hate the designs this time. Speaking of the previous video, I actually have updated Skull's design, because I mentioned how much I wasn't proud of it, but I was able to fix up the things that I didn't like, and now I really like how he looks. Now, before I end the video, I wanted to do this thing where I read off my favorite comment from the previous video. I want to do this every video because some of y'all's comments are awesome. Okay, so the comment of the day is DreamyCorn360, who said, "To be fair, the skull bandana is kinda hard to draw. I'm right there with you. I always draw it just a black bandana because I don't got the skill to draw the skull print. Lock me up. I know I removed his namesake, yes. But I love the piercings and the anime spiky hair. OMG, great job on all of them. New sub." If you want to see more of my art, you can follow me on Instagram, Tumblr, and Blue Sky. And if you want to hear my music, I have a BandLab account, all written on the screen. But yeah, thank you, bye!